Hello and welcome to Compel to Impact. Um, Today I'm going to talk about owning your life to overcome challenges. First of all, what does this mean? I teach a lot about personal responsibility, which is the most important concern you should have and develop, especially as an adult. It has everything to do with owning your life and overcoming challenges. It's one of the main components to prepare yourself for anything and everything that comes your way. The key word here is prepare. When you intentionally work on your self-development consistently, searching, learning, and growing, you inadvertently prepare yourself for unplanned situations that come your way. I mean, let's face it, when someone says, and I don't know what's going to happen, really, do you ever know what's going to happen? No, because you can't count on everything going perfectly according to your, schedule or timeline, whatever. So we never know, even when things are peaceful and they seem to be going along really well, we still never know. I just wanted to get that as my little soapbox because it cracks me up and kind of annoys me when people say, well, I don't know what's going to happen. When do you know what's going to happen? Like, when do you really know? You don't, because all kinds of things could, fall into your plans and dismantle them. Okay, so I'm done with that now, I think. Life is peppered with loss and situations that demand attention to have patience and grace. Just lightening up, trying not to think about it, or just coping while thinking positive thoughts is not enough. I believe that if you put more of a focus on personal responsibility to renew your mind and transform your life daily, it's possible to collectively reach new levels of thinking and living. Don't give up moving forward. Don't leave your dreams behind. And don't count on other people to encourage you in that because it's not always going to happen. In fact, more often than not, it doesn't. So continue to advance yourself, expand your life, and rise above mediocre thinking and wrong patterns by always learning and growing. I've started over several times in life. After more than 6 decades of traveling around the sun, I'm grateful to have another chance to do a new thing. Like each time that things need to change and I need to change with it, I'm pretty grateful for that. It's not always comfortable. It doesn't matter if it is or not. Obviously, when you are a child, you think like a child and act like a child. Responsibility for yourself is a foreign object. I'm sorry, is a foreign concept. It's something you learn along the way since you're not born with it. It's not only being able to take care of yourself, brush your hair, whatever, which is important for parents to teach at age appropriate intervals, but there are many aspects of personal responsibility that surround your social intelligence and development. So here's a contrast when an adult is not personally responsible. That person will always make excuses, blame someone else, find reasons to be angry, offended, or insulted. They will misunderstand and misconstrue so that they are never responsible for their own thoughts or their beliefs, words, or actions. Imagine that. They'll try to bring others into their tightly intertwined world because misery loves company, and that condones and shows approval for their closed off thoughts, words, and actions. These people feel a need to brag or make sure they're heard all the time to prove who they believe themselves to be. They also might crave attention to be a victim of disrespect and being diminished. And here's the truth. Everybody has been disrespected and diminished to some degree at some point in their lives. Excuse me. This is mainly because those other people who are looking for that, they didn't stand for anything in their own lives and were pushed around by every current of air passing by. On the contrary, when, as an adult, you discover this concept as an important element of who you should be, you are open to learn and grow. The mere fact that you are willing to take personal responsibility for yourself is the catalyst for increased curiosity and excitement for life. It is the childlike wonder that keeps you from closing yourself off from others with unsavory thoughts, words, and actions. You may or may not learn it at home, which many of us don't when a poor, trapped, fearful behavior is modeled. However, you will have all the power in the world to take back your life. Take ownership of the direction you choose to move and how you invest into yourself. Owning your life doesn't excuse anything bad that happened to you when you were young. Most of that may never be reconciled or put right, except for in your own heart to forgive. That is critical. It doesn't matter if it's never reconciled. It doesn't mean that you own responsibility for anything that was out of your control. It does mean that as an adult, you can now make more excellent choices for a better life, higher vibrations, and rising above mediocrity in and around you. You choose the type of deposits you allow into your heart, mind, and body in alignment with your eternal spirit. Your words and actions can vindicate yourself, redeem the adversity from the cause. You can receive grace from God and give grace to yourself and others. Whoa. Remember that each human has only learned what they've learned. They only know what they know until they search for a better way to live or are mentored into living excellently. Then you don't only do what's expected, but you go above and beyond in all areas of life because it honors yourself and others. You don't need to shout out every accomplishment with a megaphone because you know who you are and what you're capable of doing with no need to justify it to anyone else. We don't need to go out there and tell everybody all the good things we do. That doesn't, first of all, they don't care. They don't want to hear it, but it doesn't really matter. It should only matter to you. Just imagine if your example of personal responsibility changes you in such a way that even people you don't know start to watch and imitate you. What if rising above the inferior behavior becomes the majority disruption around you, feeding into itself and fueling mass inspiration? Respecting and honoring each other for being as unique as each person is, while making this kind of statement actually redeems and forgives mistakes and misconceptions of the past in your life and in previous generations. It's time to release all those people that continued the harmful patterns that now needs to end with us. The reason it does this is because it breeds radical understanding and communication that nurtures unconditional love. Is this idealistic? Yeah, sort of, but not really because it's practical and possible. When I learned about the reality of my family and how we were raised in a defeating culture and customs of generations, then, albeit slowly, I learned how to make my dream of changing my family, my children, legacy a reality. There was no magic, only dedicated choices to communication and understanding, which honors and respects, everyone involved. That doesn't mean mistakes or poor outcomes disappear as if they never existed and that they won't happen again. We're still human. But it brings love and grace into the picture, which might acknowledge those poor choices, but then covers them with the possibility of building on more solid ground. The answer is not to eliminate and delete what has happened in the past, since history is a poignant learning tool. The conclusion is to bring it to light so that you can see more clearly and build better traditions. Living excellently is a result of acknowledging who you are and what you're capable of doing, not on what anyone else thinks, because no one else can know or feel your passion and possibilities. accepting your personal responsibility as an adult to replenish and rebuild yourself, releasing or surrendering your limitations, wrong beliefs, harmful patterns of thinking, and what doesn't belong in your life, and then receiving what is meant for you and what you are ready to embrace and embody in each moment. Okay, I'm going to end this here, and I want to tell you how much from the fullness of my heart, I appreciate you listening to the end, and um, leave a comment if this resonates with you, or if you have any thoughts about it. Leave a comment. That would be great. And also subscribe, and so that you don't miss out on the videos. I'm doing these several videos in succession as long as I have the space and quiet to do it, because I want to post one video every day in the month of September. So hopefully that will happen, and it will help expand what I share to all of you who listen. And so share it with a friend if you think there's someone who needs to hear this as well, because we're all going through something. We all question ourselves, like everybody. I don't care how high on the totem pole you think they are. Everyone does it. And I have a leaf on my head, don't I? It's funny. Okay, so I need to end this. I love you guys. I'm grateful from the fullness of my heart. And until next time, live excellently, give generously, and love lavishly. Ciao.